Am I the jerk for refusing to lie on a scholarship application? I, an 18-year-old male, am going to university in a few weeks. All students in the university study tuition-free, and there are scholarships available for financial aid. For months, my mother has been pushing me not to disclose certain information in my scholarship application, such as my father's job and our permanent address, so I have a better chance of getting accepted. I feel that we are somehow well off compared to other families whose students may literally need the scholarships just to maintain a stable life. Both my parents agree that my chances of getting accepted if I do apply are slim because of this. Naturally, I was completely against this idea because I have heard of many stories of people who really need needs-based scholarships to just get by. I feel like by being dishonest, I would be taking away that opportunity from them. In the morning, my mother suggested the idea again. I told her that there are other scholarships that are not needs-based that I can apply for, and that I didn't have to lie. She tried to convince me otherwise, but the conversation ended after that. Before we got home from a trip to look for essentials to put in my apartment, my mother suggested the idea again. I said the same things, and it turned into a whole argument. She kept on suggesting not to write down all of our property in the application. When I argued that there are people who need it more than me, she would say, why would I think about other people if they don't even care about me? At the time, I felt like I was simply arguing for my case, but my mother said that my tone of voice was very disrespectful. It turned into an argument not about the scholarship, but about the way I talk to my parents and how my tone whenever I talk to them is very disrespectful. My father would try to explain to me that I shouldn't talk that way to my mother. I responded by asking my mother how she expects respect back if she can't even respect my decision to not lie on a scholarship by asking me about it over and over. I started saying that there are times when I felt her tone was rude too. I'd been mentioning this a lot before this argument, and she responded by saying that she's the parent so she should be respected no matter what. Even my father agreed that her tone can be rude sometimes, but he said I should just try to understand my mother. I really wasn't trying to be disrespectful throughout the conversation. I really was just trying to say why I felt it was wrong to do what she had been suggesting for me to do for months now, but I acknowledged that my tone may have come out as rude. I just wish my mother would stop forcing the idea on me when I clearly do not want to do it. Am I the asshole? You are not at fault here. Lying on an application could mean having to pay back scholarships later, being kicked out of school, or worse. If your parents' finances mean you don't get the scholarship, that means it's going to someone who needs it more than you, and rightfully so. Any application like that, especially in exchange for money, is a legal document, and intentionally falsifying information is a crime. A lie by omission is still a lie, and the consequences could be severe. Am I the jerk for planning a low-key destination wedding that many of my friends can't attend? It's an odd story. My fiancé and I have degrees from different schools in different towns, resulting in us having friends in different cities and provinces. Our families are also from different cities. We live in a different city than our parents and most of our friends. There's no easy non-destination option. Everything's a destination for someone. My fiancé and I don't like big fussy weddings, and I asked if he would actually want to plan a big camping trip. He was all in. I wanted to include my elderly family members who wouldn't be able to tolerate sleeping outside. So I found a place that does group campsites and also has a nearby short-term rental hotel that we would be able to pay for our families. For our friends, we basically said we have this group campsite rented for the whole week. Here is the date that we're getting married. We would love to celebrate. We will bring ample alcohol and get food from town for some days. If you would like to celebrate with us all week, we would love to have you. If you can only come for any number of days, that's fine. Just let us know so we can plan ahead about food. We also tried to help people by finding rentals for camping gear, but we didn't rent any houses or apartments for them. Our goal is a mini summer camp vibe. It's all about a 3-hour drive from our area, but there is variability in how far it is from other people. One of my friends has a baby who is just under 1 year old, and she's mad that we're hosting an event that she can't come to because of her baby and the distance. We have no issue if she doesn't come, or if she wanted to look into Airbnbs. Another friend is mad that we're hosting a de facto destination wedding, but not offering any of the usual perks like a fancy hotel. A whole bunch of people hate camping and hate that we're making them camp, even though we're fine if they just don't come. Our friend group is very split because some vocal personalities think we're inconveniencing them more than normal for weddings, and that we're being selfish by not making it more traditional so people could attend more easily. I know it's not conventional, but am I actually being an asshole? You can't please everybody. This is never more true than with weddings. You are planning the wedding that you want, and you are not requiring anyone to attend if it's not convenient. Those who can and want to will come, the others don't have to. Anywhere you choose was going to be inconvenient for someone, so do what works for you and your fiancé. Am I the jerk because I won't let my neighbors watch TV with their soundbar? I live in a single-story, 2-bedroom apartment. Only one wall of my apartment is shared with my neighbors. This shared wall divides our living room and our master bedrooms. My neighbors, Amber and her son, Connor, moved in about a year after I did. At first, things were going well enough. There were some noise disturbances, but nothing I couldn't ignore or felt the need to report. It wasn't until about 4 months into their lease that the noise disturbances became more of a nuisance. That was when Robert moved in. Robert moved in with a soundbar. Immediately, from the moment they woke up at 11 a.m. until they went to bed around 2 a.m., every TV show and movie was played through the soundbar. They often would yell and laugh while they watched TV, which added to the problem. I have tried everything to get them to reduce their noise and have even tried earplugs. From my headboard to their TV soundbar is approximately 30 feet, allowing for the possibility that their TV is not flush with the wall it is against in their room. I know this is the arrangement because I used to visit their apartment. When they start watching TV, I can hear everything on the other side of my apartment. I have knocked and asked them politely to turn it down. They turn it up. I have banged on the wall and asked them to please turn it down. I get ignored or yelled at, and again they turn it up. I have made complaints to the property manager. I have made numerous reports to the police. The last one was a week ago, so I had decided to take matters into my own hands. I have a Sony Bluetooth stereo. It has 2 small speakers and a big square speaker that puts out a lot of bass. Every time they turn on their soundbar, I have Bluetoothed into my stereo, faced all speakers into our shared bedroom wall, and played my own movie to drown out theirs. Whenever they have turned up their volume, I have turned up mine. The loudest I have had to go is 32 out of 50. When they are not using their soundbar, I am not using my stereo. I have a much smaller Bluetooth speaker I connect to if I want to listen to music in my kitchen. My TV, which is in my living room, is always between level 7 to 10. I typically keep it at a 7 and turn it up as needed, but not past 10. They have never made a complaint about any noise I may be making to the property manager. So am I the antagonist because I don't want to hear their TV in my apartment and will drown it out with my own movie? You are not the one at fault. Noisy neighbors are a menace to society and truly ruin people's quality of life. It can be incredibly frustrating when they have no concern for anybody else. Contacting the property owner about the property manager not doing their job might help. Sometimes a more drastic approach like playing loud music back can also get the message across. Am I the jerk for leaving my friend 12 hours away? To make a very long story short, my friend, a 22-year-old female, and I, a 22-year-old female, drove to our vacation in North Carolina. The trip started off rough as my friend was being very short-tempered and rude for the duration of the trip. The night before I left, we went out drinking. My friend decided to befriend a group of guys and bar hop with them. I reluctantly followed her because the hotel room was in her name and she had the only key. I did not want to leave her out with them. Eventually, she got cut off at one of the bars we were at. As we walked back to the hotel, she was walking with these 2 random guys. Both of us have boyfriends. I told her I would not go back to the hotel with these guys and would find a way to get my own room if she insisted. She said she would just go hang out with the guys somewhere else and mentioned she had lost the hotel key. I tried tirelessly to convince her not to leave with the guys and to just ditch them. I tried to get her to go to the front desk and get a new room key, as her name was the only name for the room, so I could not. I tried so hard, but there was just no convincing her at this point. The last I saw of her, she was at the valet trying to get her car. I called my grandmother and cried on the phone to her, explaining the situation. Then I fell asleep on a bench outside the hotel, since I could not get a room key. My grandmother was able to call the hotel for me and somehow talk them into giving me a key. I slept for a few hours and then woke up and booked a flight home. I no longer felt safe with my friend because of the situation I was put in. I looked at her location and she was an hour and a half away at what looked like a military base. I texted my friend and let her know I was not okay with anything that happened. I did not feel comfortable being with her for the duration of the trip or driving home with her, so I decided to fly back that day. She woke up and answered, saying that she had no idea where she was, did not know what happened the night before, and did not know how she was going to get back to the hotel. By this time, I was already at the airport about to board. By the time I got off my plane, she had blocked me on everything. Today, I woke up and had texts and calls from an investigator saying he works for NCS. He said there was a case reported by my friend, and he wanted to set up an interview so that I could better help them understand what happened that night. My friend has not talked to me at all. However, she has talked to a mutual friend of ours, saying that something bad happened and that she has been at the hospital for 2 days. However, it has not even been 48 hours since we were at the bars together. So, am I the asshole for leaving? If so, what should I have done differently? And what should I do about this situation moving forward? You are not the one to blame. She left you and wouldn't listen to reason. You made multiple attempts to get her to go to the hotel, and she refused. She is an adult, and you couldn't force her to do the responsible thing. It's a bad situation all around, but whatever happened isn't your fault. It's on her and the people she left with. Am I the jerk for closing on time when I knew a customer was wanting to trade in? Here is the revised text with extraneous information removed, lists converted into sentences, and grammatical corrections made. For some background, I work for an arcade in a hotel. People can play the machines, win tickets, and then trade them for fabulous prizes, or at least fabulous by Poundland standards. The arcade ticket booth is open from 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. That is when we are paid up to, not 10:30 or anything. It closes at 10 p.m. and we go home. Usually, there is only one attendant in the arcade. One night at 9:56 p.m., a man was walking past. He had possibly been in the club with his children, watching the entertainment. He asked, "Is that you finished now?" I replied, "Almost." He said, "All right, we'll be back shortly with tickets," and he disappeared. I continued cleaning the machine I was cleaning and then looked at my phone. It was 10:01 p.m., so it was time to go. I lowered the curtain in the ticket booth and left. I was in the next morning. He asked why I hadn't stayed. I told him I finished work at 10 p.m. He said that he was hoping to leave early in the morning but had to stay until 9 to trade in his tickets for my junk. I refused to apologize. Define shortly. It was clearly more than 4 minutes for him. Would he have been there at 10:02 p.m.? Or would there have happened to be something on TV that he wanted to watch before coming back, half an hour later? Define with tickets. He could have had them all neat with a few receipts with the values. They could have decided ahead of time what they wanted and taken no time. Or they could have countless little receipts crumpled up in different pockets. While I am adding them up, they keep throwing more crumpled receipts on my desk. The first child takes ages deciding, and when they finally do, the second child, who hasn't even started looking yet, starts to decide. After taking an age, they choose something that the first child didn't notice, and now the first child is trying to decide what they should put back to get it. As they are doing that, the second child changes their mind on what they want. It might be that they haven't even shredded all their tickets yet and still need to. I didn't want to hang about to find out which scenario or any possibility in between it would be. Am I the asshole? You are not responsible for this. You have clearly stated hours, and they should have come sooner. It's not your responsibility to stay open longer just because they can't plan well. This is like missing the bus, not your drama. Maybe giving a quick heads up before closing could help though, like saying you're closing in a few minutes so folks are aware. Am I the jerk for deciding to leave my cousin's wedding a few hours early? My cousin and I have been super close our entire lives. She ended up becoming best friends with someone, I'll call her Emily, I knew long before she met and never clicked with. I didn't trust her, didn't like her, and didn't want to be around her, which is fine. People can be friends with whoever they want to be friends with, whether I like that person or not. However, it became a huge issue when my cousin told Emily extremely personal information about me during one of the worst times of my life. Emily ended up telling a bunch of our mutual friends the private details of my life that I didn't want to share with anyone. I was devastated and felt so betrayed that my cousin would be the one to abuse my trust like that. We didn't speak for an entire year. Once I was ready to repair my relationship with my cousin, I decided that I would never be in the same room as Emily again. My cousin and Emily had a falling out because of this too, but became friends again years later. Surprise! Emily screwed her over again and they fell out again. They haven't spoken for about 3 years. My cousin got engaged about 2 months ago and is getting married in October. She mentioned to me that she was thinking about inviting Emily. I told her that it's her wedding, and she can invite whoever she wants to, but I also reminded her about how strongly I felt about Emily, and that I meant it when I said I would never be in the same room as her again. Emily got invited and I just found out 2 days ago. She RSVP'd 2 to 3 weeks ago, and my family kept it a secret from me so my cousin could tell me on her own when it fit into her itinerary. Fine, she's planning a wedding and maybe uncomfortable conversations aren't on the top of her list of things to do, but I still found out. Again, she can invite whoever she wants to her wedding, but I set a very clear and very strict boundary about Emily. I decided that I'm going to compromise, go to the wedding, celebrate my cousin for a while, but leave a couple hours early so I don't have to spend any more time than I'm obligated to in the same room as Emily. My cousin is livid about my decision, sent me scathing and insulting text messages, then blocked me on every platform. I don't even know if I'm still invited to the wedding at this point. I don't think leaving early is a big deal, and I think my decision is a fair compromise for both of us. I'm willing to bend, but I'm not willing to break. I really have no ill will towards Emily. I'm over the situation, and I hope she lives a happy and fulfilling life, but she is the reminder of all of those feelings of betrayal and hurt, and this entire situation brings up new feelings of betrayal and hurt. I really don't think I should have to throw the boundary I created with her completely out the window. Am I the antagonist? You did nothing wrong here. Stick to your first decision and don't go to this wedding. Your cousin clearly doesn't respect you and your relatives don't care about your feelings. Treat yourself to a nice day instead. You deserve better. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.